political situation in Rivers State, and the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State having failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 305, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Similaye Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Oju, and all elected members of the House of Assembly state are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months.
With the outcome of the last local government election held under the outgoing administrator, the balance of power has shifted back toward the Wike camp, leaving Governor Fubara politically exposed as he prepares to return to office. This has raised concern about how Fubara will be able to pilot the affairs of government with an existing Wike-controlled hostile House of Assembly. Rivers citizens and other Nigerians have been weighing the options available to the suspended governor ahead of his much-expected return in the next few days. While some citizens are excited about his comeback, others advise that resignation may be his best option under the prevailing political conditions. According to them, Fubara should resign shortly after resumption, arguing that working under what they describe as unfavorable conditions would reduce him to a mere puppet.
As a gentleman, you understand, the best thing you should come is to come and resume. Then maybe after a few months, maybe 1 month to 6 months, you understand, let him put a resignation. Okay. You understand? Okay. That is my candid opinion. Because you cannot push a man to the wall and you expect him to be on that wall without reacting. You understand? He should take action and resign, and that should be the best thing for him.
I see. Once I resume office today, maybe 2 weeks or a week later, I resign and I will have my respite. That is what I will do. Because for me to come back now, there's a lot that is going to do.
Others say the governor should maintain peace by sticking to the agreement brokered with his political benefactor and godfather to ensure that governance continues smoothly.
Let them settle within themselves and let peace reign. Nobody is happy when he's not in the state. Nobody is happy. So let him not repeat himself again. For me, that is what I think it should be. They should comply with them and let them work together whichever way. Even if it didn't work well again, more Rivers person will blame him because he started well. And we all see what happened. So that is just the truth.
We are praying that as him and the boss settle, everything will move forward. That's what we are praying.
If you come now like this now, you guys see the play with Wike small. So when you don't know, say yes, you don't get the state to yourself. Then you act your own way to go out for power as a full governor.
He's a peaceful man, rather. I will advise him to just maintain the peace that he has always been, and then leave Rivers people, because he's not leading himself, he's leading the Rivers people. So he's working for the people. As the governor, you are serving the people, so let him just maintain the peace.
A section of residents is, however, expressing joy over his anticipated return, hopeful that it will revive governance and abandoned projects and restore leadership after months under a sole administrator.
He has that good mindset. From the offset, we know, we are seeing him. So he will finish all the projects and likely do new projects before the timeline. Honestly, yes.
We are thinking that if he comes, everything will be, work will start. So that something will reach to the grassroots. As it is now, we don't know whether government will be able. But when he comes back, we know that government.
By the way, governor, same is a governor of Rivers State. So let him come and take his position as a governor of Rivers State. So he should not come and be like a boy to Wike. Everybody knows he's a governor of Rivers State. So we need him to come back. Let him come back.
Analysts posits that if the hostilities in the state continue and Wike maintains his victory stand, Fugbara may find himself boxed into Rivers government house with little control beyond the Executive Council that may translate to slow service delivery. So, will his return mark a fresh start for governance or a continuation of political tensions? Only
Still to come, Mogala calls more tax reform from Nigerians unjust. Court to hear Nnamdi Kanu's motion seeking transfer to National Hospital. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The Federal Ministry of Education has realigned the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, and the National Teachers Institute, NTI, to enhance teacher professionalism and improve education delivery across the country. Outlining the new roles for the two agencies in a press release issued on Sunday through its official X account, the ministry mandated that all teachers must be registered with TRCN. It explained that NTI will now concentrate on in-service training and community professional development programs, while the TRCN will take on the responsibility of regulating and licensing teachers nationwide. Education Minister Maruf Alausa unveiled new guidelines for both organizations, covering key areas such as teacher registration, professional development, compliance monitoring, welfare, and curriculum standards. Former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Kingsley Moghalu, has described as unfair the demand for more tasks from Nigerians amid the profligacy and corruption by leaders. Moghalu questioned how oil revenues and billions of dollars in borrowed funds had been spent, stressed that accountability must precede any fresh task demands. In a post on X on Sunday, the former CBN governor described Nigeria's political class as self-entitled elite who lack transparency, while acknowledging that task reforms are broadly in the right direction. Moghalu insisted that without addressing corruption and waste in governance, the burden on ordinary Nigerians would remain unjust. Katsina State Governor Diko Rada told community leaders in Zabuwa that the state government had already released 7.5 billion naira, about 40% of the project cost, to mobilize contractors, but security challenges in the area had prevented work from beginning. According to the governor, ongoing dialogue with armed groups could help restore stability and allow the project to move forward. The 27-kilometer road is designed to link Sabuwa town with Tashabawa station and connect 13 rural communities. The Sabuwa delegation pledged its cooperation towards peace and development in the area. The Young African Leaders for Global Impact, YALGI, has hosted its annual Young African Leaders Conference, YALCON, in ENUGU with the theme, Africa's Next Generation of Change Makers, leading the shift from aid to sustainable future. Correspondent Raymond Ken Mbata was at the event.
The conference hall was filled with vibrant voices of young leaders, policy advocates, entrepreneurs, and development partners. Discussions focused on practical strategies to move Africa away from donor dependency and towards self-reliant, sustainable growth. Speakers emphasized the importance of innovation, leadership, and collaboration in tackling Africa's most pressing challenges, from education and health to governance and economic development. The convener of the convention, Ikenna Ezenwa, decried Africa's dependence on foreign aid and eschewed the youth to change the narrative.
I welcome you warmly to Young African Leaders Conference 2025. Welcome to a gathering where ideas will become strategies, where challenges will be imaged as opportunities, where networks will be built across borders, and where youth leadership will not be postponed, but executed and exercised today. I urge you to engage deeply, to think critically, to collaborate sincerely and act courageously. Let us prove through our deliberations and our actions that Africa's future is not a question mark, but an exclamation, bright, bold, and unstoppable. Together, let us declare that African story will no longer be written by others, but by Africans themselves.
Enugu State Governor Peter Mba described the event as apt, especially now that the world is evolving and throwing up more challenges for the Nigerian youth. Mba, who was represented by the Commissioner for Labour and Employment, Dr. Felix Nnamani, expressed gratitude to the organizers for choosing Enugu State as host for the Converge and urged them to sustain the tempo.
I won't bore you because a lot of speakers have been engaged to talk to us this afternoon. But the idea of this aid has been a headache to me growing up too. Because there's no justification for it. They are not using it to address the needs of our people. Rather, it comes as a loan that generations after generations were not able to pay them. It's worrisome. I like the spirit in the young man who is leading this conference, who has put this together. There's always a God factor in all that we do.
Commissioner for Youth and Sports, represented by his Special Assistant on Student Affairs, Divine Ekweremadu, advised youths to equip themselves for leadership positions. This, he said, is the only way that they can make a greater impact in the society and take their rightful place.
And I tell you this, if you are not giving yourself to self-development, you are not building yourself everything. The day God will announce you, the day you will find the opportunity, you will not be ready. A lot of people are going to walk through the doors. A lot of people are going to become networked like they are doing now. A lot of people will walk into the opportunities. But guess what? They will have no story, they will have no experience. And so when they tell you to volunteer, when they tell you not to wait for leadership opportunities, to do the things that you need to do, it is so that you can gain the scars, you can gain the experience, you can gain the story to tell.
Keynote speaker Dr. Sharon Waswa from Kenya advocated for a shift from aid dependence to self-sustenance and a redefinition of the narrative that Africa is a troubled continent.
If a youth group was to run a solar irrigation cooperative, and you can go from selling pumps, because a lot of people sell pumps, to selling liters of water delivered, and having farmers or people pay for the liters during the season. The cooperative will maintain uptime, you will get money, and you will get paid for performance because you deliver on the liters of water. And that's not charity, it's a contract that you have created with farmers. You're not handing them pumps, they get water, they pay for the water.
One of the speakers, Val Okafor, spoke on transformational leadership, saying that one does not need a special position to take up responsibility.
The kind that Africa is looking for, a style of leadership that puts premium on bringing out the best out of people. There's a book that is written, The Men Who Built America, not the politicians who built America, but the men who built America.
The central message from this conference is that Africa's future lies not in foreign aid, but in the creativity, resilience, and leadership of its young people. From the Amadio Event Center in Enugu, Raymond Ken Mbata reporting for Signature TV.
The Lagos State government has announced that it will commence repairs work on a section of Ozumba Madewe Road from Boni Camp Junction starting Monday. According to a statement released by the Minister of Transportation and signed by Commissioner Oluwaseun Oshiyemi, the rehabilitation exercise will last for 1 week, ending on Sunday, September 21. The works are scheduled to take place at night between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. daily in a bid to reduce the impact of traffic during the day. The ministry advised motorists and commuters to plan their trips accordingly, noting that while the works are ongoing, minor delays may occur despite the night schedule. Road users are urged to follow traffic signs, exercise patience, and comply with instructions from traffic enforcement agencies deployed along the corridor. Ozumba Madewe Road is a major route connecting commuters from the Lekki axis into Victoria Island and Ikoyi. The Federal High Court will, on Monday, hear a motion filed by Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, seeking an order transferring him to the Abuja National Hospital for urgent medical attention. Justice Musa Liman had granted the motion ex parte, praying for the permission of the court to hear the application during the vacation period in view of its urgency. Justice Liman, who fixed September 15th for the hearing, ordered Kanu's lawyer, Uchenna Ojoko, to serve all the processes and the hearing notice on the Department of State Services, DSS, in order for the security agency to respond appropriately. Kanu, in a motion filed by his lawyer, Kanu Agabi, sought an order granting leave for the applicant's motion dated 1st September 2025 to be heard before the vacation judge. Agabi said Kanu on May 19 filed an application praying the court to admit him to bail pending the hearing and determination of the terrorism charge. The lawyer, however, said that the said application could not be taken before the annual vacation of the court, hence his continued detention. According to him, while awaiting the resumption of the court activities, the applicant's health took a worrisome decline, necessitating the invitation of doctors for the purpose of carrying out a thorough and extensive examination on the applicant. He alleged that a letter by the doctors to the Director General of the DSS advising the transfer of Kalu had gone without answer. He said the urgency of the matter had, therefore, necessitated the filing of the instant application as a measure to arrest further decline of his health, while spirited efforts are being expended to ensure his treatment. Up ahead, Russia fires Iran missile and practices emergency situations during Zapad drills. Tens of thousands rally in Ankara over crackdown on main opposition party. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio visited the Western Wall, a sacred site in Judaism, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday after arriving to the region in order to discuss the future of the conflict with the Palestinians as Israel plans to seize the city of Gaza. Rubio's arrival in the region comes amid tensions with fellow U.S. allies in the Middle East over Israel's strike on Hamas leaders in Qatar and the expansion of settlements in the occupied West Bank. Rubio said the U.S. relationship with Israel would not be affected, but that he would discuss with the Israelis how the strike would affect Trump's desire to secure the return of all the hostages held by Hamas, get rid of the militants, and end the Gaza war. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio during his visit to the Western Wall, a sacred site in Judaism, on Sunday, praising it as a testament to the resilience of the Israeli-U.S. ties. Rubio and Netanyahu were shown around the sacred site, where they both placed notes in the Western Wall and were shown a book of prayer. Rubio's arrival in the region comes amid tensions with fellow U.S. allies in the Middle East over Israel's strike on Hamas leaders in Qatar and the expansion of settlements in the occupied West Bank.
Marco Rubio and his wife, Janet. I think his visit here is a testament to the durability, the strength of the Israeli-American alliance. It's as strong and as durable as the stones of the Western Wall that we just touched. Under President Trump and Secretary Rubio and their entire team, this alliance has never been stronger, and we deeply appreciate it, not only on behalf of the people of Israel who live today, the generations of Jews who preceded us, and hope that we build our state anew with friends like you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for all.
Thank you.
Two vessels from the Global Samud Flotilla, an international aid initiative, departed from Emopolis, port of the Greek island of Seros, on Sunday, headed for Gaza in a bid to challenge Israel's naval blockade. Activists on board the oxygen boat waved as supporters on the dock chanted and lit smoke grenades in farewell. Earlier, a few hundred people had gathered at the port to demonstrate their support to the mission and their solidarity to the Palestinian people, holding flags and banners and chanting slogans such as "Freedom to Palestine." GSF said on Wednesday that one of its boats were attacked by drone at a Tunisian port, the second such strike in 2 days. Organizers described the attacks as deliberate attempts by Israel to disrupt the mission. The GSF is a coordinated, non-violent fleet of mostly small vessels sailing from ports across the Mediterranean to break the Israeli occupation's illegal siege on Gaza, according to its website, and includes hundreds of activists from over 40 countries, including Swedish activist Greta Thunberg and Portuguese left-wing politician Mariana Mortágua. Russian Defense Ministry on Sunday released more footage of joint military exercises with Belarus. According to the ministry website, the footage showed coastal missile system BAL firing Ural missile, military helicopters Ka-52M and Mi-8NM providing fire support to assault groups and the Baltic Fleet forces practicing actions to provide emergency rescue to a ship. In a separate video from Belarus, soldiers were training to put up command posts and secure communication centers at the Borovsky training range. Russia's Zapad or West Joint Strategic Exercise with Belarus began on September 12, aiming to improve military command and coordination in the event of an attack on either Russia or Belarus, the Defense Ministry said. Moscow and Minsk have said the exercises are exclusively defensive and that they do not intend to attack any NATO member, though the US-led military alliance announced an Eastern Sentry operation after the incursion of Russian drones into Poland on September 9-10. Chicago's Mexican community celebrated its Independence Day parade on Sunday, filing downtown streets with music, flags, and traditional dress, despite a Trump-ordered federal enforcement surge in the city. Meraki bands performed atop floats as crowds waved Mexican flags. Children joined from the sidelines, and spectators lined the route to watch dancers in traditional attire. The festive scenes came as the Trump administration said it had launched an immigration enforcement action in Chicago and other parts of Illinois called Operation Midway Blitz. President Donald Trump had signaled in recent weeks he could send National Guard troops and additional federal officers to Democratic-led Chicago to combat crime and illegal immigration. So far, the effort has more closely resembled step-up immigration enforcement akin to actions during his previous term than the troop deployment authorized earlier this summer in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. Trump's statements and the new enforcement push have sparked protests across Chicago and surrounding suburbs. French far-right national rally leaders Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella on Sunday reiterated the demand for the dissolution of the National Assembly in order to bring about a change of leadership.
What we need is a return to the spirit and letter of the Fifth Republic. And therefore, given the current situation, a return to the polls. Because if the French people continue to progressively restrict Emmanuel Macron's institutional capacity for action through increasingly thin parliamentary support, it's because after 8 years, they yearn for a different policy. To aspire to a different policy in electoral matters, this is called alternation. I've said it before and I'll repeat it, alternation is normal. In a democracy, it's healthy, it's essential. The short-lived Prime Minister François Bayrou planned to increase French taxes by 20 billion euros. According to him, there was no choice. You know, like those ultra-liberal regimes of the 1980s who coined the phrase, there is no alternative. But nothing could be more mendacious. For years, we have established a simple principle. Before asking the French to make the slightest effort, the state must drastically eliminate dogmatic and toxic policies for the country and reduce its expensive lifestyle. National priority for access to housing and social assistance. Tomorrow, we will do it. National priority in public procurement for our businesses. Tomorrow, we will do it. Drastically reducing regular and irregular migration flows. Tomorrow, we will do it. Reducing our contribution to the European Union to free up the billions that our police officers, our healthcare workers, and our teachers so desperately need, tomorrow, we will do it. Just as we will reduce toxic government spending, billions in subsidies poured into wind turbines and solar panels that disfigure our landscapes, weaken our nuclear power plants, and send your electricity bills soaring. When this already forgotten government is censured, probably in a few weeks or months, you will once again be called to the polls. You will have the power to make Jordan Bardella their Prime Minister.
The crisis.
Prime Minister Sebastian Lecornu continues his consultations with a view to drafting a budget that will not be rejected by the deputies. RN leaders declared that change was needed. Le Pen's number 2, party leader Jordan Bardella, highlighted the fatigue of the French after 8 years of Macronist rule and denounced the negotiations initiated by the new occupants of Matignon, where the national rally has not yet been received.
The crisis France is going through will not be resolved by a simple casting change, by a waltz of interchangeable and anonymous ministers. It requires a profound break with 8 years of Macronist politics that is nothing more than socialism, only worse. To trust, is to admit that only a return to the polls will restore the stability the country craves. Either the President of the Republic dissolves the National Assembly to organize new legislative elections, or, in the event of repeated deadlock, he will have to resign himself, as General de Gaulle did.
Tens of thousands of people protested in the capital Ankara on Sunday against a court case that could oust the head of the main opposition on Monday after a year-long legal crackdown on hundreds of its members. Live footage showed crowds chanting for President Tayyip Erdogan's resignation while waving Turkish flag and party banners. The court decision on Monday whether to invalidate the 2023 Congress of the Republican People's Party, CHP, over alleged procedural irregularities could reshape the party, rattle financial markets, and influence the timing of a general election set for 2028. The court could also delay the ruling. Speaking at Sunday's rally, CHP leader Ogzo Ozel said the government was trying to cling to power by undermining democratic norms and suppressing decent-flowing opposition victories in local elections over the past year. Ozel also called for a snap general election. The government says the judiciary is independent and denies any political motives. Turkey has detained more than 500 people, including 17 mayors, over the last year in Istanbul and other CHP-run municipalities around the country as part of corruption investigations. Hundreds of members of the CHP have been jailed pending trial in a sprawling probe into alleged corruption and terrorism links. Among them, President Tayyip Erdogan's main political rival, Istanbul Mayor Ekrem. The arrest of ENUGU in March sparked the country's largest protest in a decade, where hundreds of thousands took to the streets, prompting a brief but sharp sell-off in the lira and other Turkish assets. In a letter sent from prison and read aloud at the rally in Ankara, ENUGU wrote that government is attempting to predetermine the outcome of the next election by sidelining legitimate rivals. He also accused the government of undermining democracy through politically motivated judicial actions and other efforts to suppress dissent. Nepal's newly appointed interim Prime Minister Sushila Kaki said on Sunday that she and her team were not interested in power and were focused on serving the country. Kaki was addressing a meeting at the newly set up Prime Minister's office in Kathmandu. Kaki added that her interim government would work for 6 months, after which the jurisdiction would be handed over to a newly elected government. She also announced compensations for those killed in protest on September 8th.
The conditions under which I had to take responsibility. I am not here because I desire to do so. Voices on the street said, "Bring in Sushila Kaki," and I was compelled to take charge. This is why I am working with my team, and we are not here to taste power. My age does not support that either. We were asked to join and take charge. We are here to serve the country and we will only stay here for 6 months, not more than that. After completing all the tasks and responsibilities, we will be free and we will hand it over to the new ministers and the parliament. We have made this promise. Today, after coming here, I have signed an order to declare that those who were killed on September 8th will be considered martyrs. After considering the constitutional limitations, we have decided that 1 million rupees will be provided to the bereaved families. Those injured will also be provided with compensation. Officials have taken care of all the expenses of the families of the deceased, who are in Kathmandu. Transportation, to take the bodies of those killed to their homes, will be provided by the government. If someone has permanent injuries and falls under the criteria of differently abled, their medical expenses will be absorbed by the government. I think this is the first time this surge of violence and damage has been recorded in the history of this country. Our key organizations are in such a state that we cannot show our face to anyone. I feel it was carried out in a planned way and was a conspiracy. This has to be investigated. After the investigation, those who are found to have targeted and damaged the most essential services, which are now defunct, will not be spared. They should be found and penalized.
She was sworn in as the interim head of the country after anti-corruption protests led to the ousting of Prime Minister Sharma Oli's government. The death toll from last week's anti-corruption protest has risen to 72, the country's health ministry said on Sunday, as search teams continued to recover bodies from shopping malls and other buildings damaged in the unrest. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro left house arrest on Sunday morning to undergo medical procedures at a private hospital in Brasilia. The procedures were authorized by the Supreme Federal Court, and Bolsonaro was escorted by a federal police convoy to the DF Star Hospital. The court order specified that he must remain at the hospital only for the duration of the procedures and return to his residence immediately afterward. Bolsonaro is currently serving house arrest following his conviction of attempting a coup. His legal team had requested temporary release for health reasons, and the STF granted it under strict conditions. A soda delivery truck collapsed into a sinkhole in Mexico City on Saturday with no injuries reported, according to local media. The incident occurred in Iztapalapa, the city's most populous borough. The Geratos branded cargo truck sank rear first into the sinkhole as residents looked on, its weight causing it to sink even further. Videos recorded by witnesses quickly went viral on social media. Iztapalapa Mayor Aleida Alaveza visited the cordon off-site to oversee removal efforts. World Boxing Association on Sunday announced the death of British boxer Ricky Hatton, a former two-division world champion. Ricky Hatton was nicknamed the Hitman, died at the age of 46. He had won the WBA, IBO and IBF light welterweight titles and the WBA welterweight world championship during his 15-year professional career before retiring in 2012. He had been due to make a comeback for an event in Dubai later this year. Hatton had 45 wins in 48 bouts over his career, but in the years after he retired, he said he had tried to kill himself several times and had been open up about his struggle with depression, drink and drugs. Hatton's best performance came in 2005 when he stopped Australian Kostia Xiao to add the IBF light welterweight title to the WBU belt he already held. He had a perfect 43-0 record until he was floored by Floyd Mayweather Jr. in Las Vegas in 2007 and was never the same again. Hatton's second loss came in 2009 when Manny Pacquiao knocked him out. Meanwhile, British boxer Amir Khan paid tribute to his former colleague and friend, describing him as a massive inspiration in his career.
Tragic news. I mean, for the world of boxing, not only for Britain, he was a massive name, and he's going to be definitely missed. I mean, what style he had, pressure fighter, also brought the whole of Manchester to boxing. I mean, it's a big loss for us. But watching his amazing, massive fights he used to have in Manchester Arena back in the days, and obviously then traveling all around the world and fighting the biggest names in boxing, from the Mayweathers to Manny Pacquiao's and everything. So he was a massive inspiration to me in my career. And not only that, he came to my wedding. He also came to me when I won my first world title. He was at the fight, giving me all the great advice I needed at the time. And it's just so sad because he was a very dear friend of ours.
Ricky was a larger than life character. He was just loved by everyone. The support that he had. I mean, I traveled to Vegas to watch him fight. We were friends for many, many years, and it's such a sad loss.
Well, he fought in almost a Mexican kind of style. He liked to get in close, roll off to one side, move to the right-hand side as he got in close, and give space for terrific power hooks, which was his trademark. And he was a real rough, tough fighter. And until he came up against Floyd Mayweather, who, let's be honest, was one of the outstanding fighters of recent years, he swept all before him. He tried to find friendship and love, but he found it hard to come by. And I think that, like others before him, he found boxing as a very, very difficult thing to replace once it had gone out of his life as a competitor.
A number of those connected with the sport posted on X tribute to Hatton, including his former opponent Manny Pacquiao, who wrote he was not only a great fighter inside the ring, but also a brave and kind man in life. A popular athlete in England said he was known to have been a fan of Manchester City of the Premier League. A minute of applause took place before the Manchester derby between City and Manchester United, with players wearing black armbands in tributes. Kun Khalifat FC secures first NPFL League victory as Enyimba FC record win away from home. Newly promoted Nigerian Premier Football League club, Kun Khalifat Football Club of Owerri, secured their first victory in Nigeria's top flight division after beating El Kanami Warriors in a match day 4 fixture played at the Enyimba Stadium, Aba. The Pride of Imo got the better of the visitors 3-1 in a scintillating fashion at their adopted home ground in Aba. Elsewhere, Enyimba FC shocked Bayelsa United with a convincing 2-0 away victory at the Samson Siasia Stadium in ENUGU. Former champions Kano Pillars defeated Rangers International of ENUGU by a lone goal to pick up their first victory of the season off an Ahmed Musa strike, while Plateau United Football Club of Jos recorded their first win of the season with a 2-0 victory against defending champions Remo Stars Football Club. It ended all square at the Southern Delta University Stadium, Ozoro Delta State, between Warri Wolves FC and visiting Kwara United FC of Ilorin. It was a hard-fought battle and a valuable point for the Kwara United as they look ahead to their CAF Confederation Cup clash against Asante Kotoko in Ghana. Rivers United Football Club of Port Harcourt defeated Shooting Stars Football Club of Ibadan by a lone goal in Port Harcourt, while Abia Warriors Football Club of Umuahia got the better of Wiki Tourist FC of Bauchi by a lone goal. Unbeaten Ikorodu City Football Club of Lagos tamed newcomers Baru FC of Kano by 2-0, while Nasarawa United Football Club of Lafia earned the maximum point against Wiki Tourist Football Club of Bauchi. Denmark's Jonas Vingegaard won the Vuelta a España on Sunday, but was denied crossing the line in triumph as the 21st and final stage of the trouble-hit 3-week race was abandoned when pro-Palestinian protesters blocked the finish in Madrid. The Vesmales, a bike rider, effectively wrapped up victory in the year's last Grand Tour victory after winning Saturday's mountain stage to stretch his lead over Portugal's João Almeida to 1 minute and 16 seconds. Sunday's ride from Altapado into the capital was always going to be little more than a procession for the peloton, but with riders already in Madrid and approaching the city circuit, they were halted at around 6:20 p.m. with 60 kilometers remaining. Vingegaard was seen shaking hands with teammates as confusion reigned before it was confirmed that the race would not reach its scheduled finish. It is the first time of cycling's Grand Tours has been prevented from completing its final stage by political demonstrators since the Volta in 1978 was halted by Basque separatists in San Sebastian. While the race will be remembered as one of the most volatile in the Volta's history, with protests causing chaos since stage 5, it was a landmark one for Vingegaard. It was his third Grand Tour victory after the Tour de France in 2020 and 2023. He is also the first Danish winner of the Spanish race. Manchester City's goal-scoring machine Erling Haaland struck twice in the 3-0 Premier League thrashing of Manchester United on Sunday, giving Pep Guardiola's side bragging rights in the latest edition of the derby. And that's the news this hour. I am Christopher Lele. Thank you for watching.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorum, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Bright and early as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day. We at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
Why is overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what they call CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change a narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning, weekdays, and Signature New Day, weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Very lucky. My son is involved in he's very creative, because it's not a question of rolling out, churning out students as a mere conventional certificate carrying graduates, paper tiger, so to speak. At the end of the day, there's nothing to offer. After all, Nigerian government have told you in no unprintable terms that they can no longer offer employment. So that's why they introduced the entrepreneurial development. So my son has been able to learn one skill or the other. He now builds what they call, is it palm or whatever.
Okay. Okay.
So he places online. If they place online requests, they will bid. It doesn't affect his studies. So gladdened by that sense of initiative and independence, I had to give him money, about 50,000 naira, to encourage him. And now he has finished. He has now graduated. And now he's now going to expand his vision. That is creative thought, that talent will now begin to unlock that innate hidden potentials in them. It will now blow fast. So that's the thing. But now, instead of going to Yahoo, or going to what do you call it, this Man U Chelsea club.
Betting.
Betting. No. He now sees something that keeps him busy. Is it clear? It's because he has been able to find out from the family he grew from. He has not seen the sense of direction his father has given. He has not seen that discipline. It's not a question of abandonment of responsibility, application of no, that's not the issue. So that's why I'm particularly happy about that. The next time now he goes to Port Harcourt or whatever for youth service, I'm sure when he gets to NYC camp, he now begins to market and package his product very well.
Good morning and welcome to a new week. Today is Monday, the 15th day of September 2025, and you are watching Signature Morning on Signature TV. I mean, the month is moving quite fast. Lillian, how was your weekend?
Good morning, Uche.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
How was your weekend?
I mean, my weekend was superb. Do you know I ate with the Bass's wife?
Oh, you went to Lagos to eat with Hilda
I came back by 5 a.m. this morning.
How was the rice? I hope it was
superb.
It was mwah. I mean, it's so lovely to see how Nigerians come out to support their own.
Yes,
but yes, welcome once again to Signature Morning. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha.
And I am Lillian Wali. We'll go on a short break. When we return, our newspaper headlines and review follows. Welcome back. Now let's kick it off with our newspaper headlines. And from the Daily Times newspaper, FG expands school feeding program to 50 million pupils, mark by 2026. That's on page 2.
TIN not mandatory for bank account opening, FIRS clarifies on page 7.
Resident doctors suspend warning strike, bank on FG assurances, and conviction of terrorist commander, a win against illegal mining, Alake says.
NDLEA nabs Indian businessman with 3.9 billion naira tramadol at Lagos airport. Climate data needed to stem financial risks, Anosike tells regulators on page 14.
And over to Daily Independent newspaper, 6 months to deadline. Only 14 banks have met recapitalization.
Without reforms, judiciary risks further public trust erosion. This is from the lawyers. Demand independence, technology, cheaper access to justice.
And September MPC, analysts see CBN keeping rates steady. Prevent strike by university unions, pro-chancellors tell FG.
Don't dent your image by running in 2027, Sage tells Jonathan. Those asking him to run are selfish elements, says Afebwa. Obedience deny begging ex-president to step down for Obi.
And Serap gives INEC 7 days to punish politicians over early campaigns. Outgoing Rivers Sole administrator begs politicians to embrace peace.
FG warns of flooding in 11 states, urges evacuations on page 7. And finally, on the Daily Independent, Tinubu urged to impose emergency rule in Zamfara on page 6.
And on the Vanguard newspaper, how attendants manipulate pumps, extort petrol consumers nationwide. How I was scammed, says victim. Cheating usually intense during scarcity, motorist says. And NMDPRA lacks adequate personnel, absent at filling stations.
Foreign policy, Nigeria remains non-aligned. This is from Toga on page 9. And we have Speak Truth to Power, Tinubu challenges faith leaders on page 5.
FG predicts flooding in 11 states, advises evacuations. NDLEA arrests Indian, 3 Nigerians over 3.9 billion naira tramadol shipment.
On the Guardian newspaper on page 6, we have Back to School. Parents struggle with steep tuition hike as schools wrestle rising OPEX.
Akpabio urges Nigerians to tarry, says Tinubu's reforms will bear fruit.
That man warns against divisive narratives in downstream sector.
INEC others taxed on credible polls to avert protests.
Punish politicians in early election campaigns, Serap tells INEC on page 7. And on page 27, states may experience heavy rain this week, FG warns.
Shekaral's PDP chairmanship, ADA's prospects on settle ADC coalition. Aregbesola condemns APC's economic policies.
Experts divided over Fubara's return as emergency rule expires on Thursday. And finally, on the Guardian, Dawn blames poor nutrition policy execution for 45% child morbidity.
And on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, parents groan as schools resume 2025-2026 academic year. We have no option but to increase fees, school owner says. Stakeholders seek ban on mandatory sale of books by schools. That's on page 12.
Governor Adeleke has surpassed APC's 12-year record under 3 years. Osun student leaders. Failed opposition aspirants should see what even the blind are seeing, Adeleke on page 12.
Dangote Refinery accuses that man of misleading Nigerians, says it offers cheaper fuel despite importing 60% of crude, and travelers at risk as scams, extortion rampant at Lagos airport.
Akpabio Akume to Nigerians, bear with Tinubu over economic hardship on page 22. And on page 6, Nigeria's economy back on global investors' radar, says analysts. Say CBN's FX overhaul, stable Naira spark renewed confidence despite lag in long-term FDIs.
And on health matters, study determines that drinking too little water predisposes to stress.
On the Daily Trust newspaper, on the headlines, we have sudden deaths rise. That is on pages 5 and 6.
And Zamfara accident, mother found dead holding child.
Kaduna houses, farms flooded. FG issues fresh alert in 11 states.
Billions at stake as Nigerians pay for failed USSD transactions.
On the Punch newspaper, on the headlines, emergency rule. IBAS defends 6-month tenure as opposition demands probe. PDP, LP, Mosop, others call for accountability as Fubara returns September 18. Wike Fubara shun transition Thanksgiving service on page 2.
Dangote deploys 1,000 trucks, Ipman rallies marketers, and crude earnings fall by 3.18 trillion naira amid output surge. And that's on page 29 of the Punch newspaper.
INEC, Catholic bishops clash over 2023 poll credibility.
Kano seeks transfer from DSS to National Hospital.
States pledge quality education as schools resume today.
Lagos stops 6-story building construction after Punch report.
And finally on the Punch, Ogun urges residents to relocate over flood threat.
And on the Daily Sun newspaper, opposition parties regroup for 2027. ADC's neck to meet, set Congress date. Nenandi Osman led ESCO takes control of LP. PDP remains divided, risks disintegration over Jonathan.
Uzodinma presents book on APC's 10-year leadership, September 30. Race to recapitalization. 6 listed banks meet CBN's requirements.
Well, that is the much we can take on our newspaper headlines this morning. And we are here ready to battle what we have here with our very own Chris Maduka for our review. Good morning, Mr. Chris.
Good morning, Lilian.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. How was yours?
It was okay.
I can see it written all over you. You're looking bright and early.
Did you eat rice? Why is your face so plummy?
Does rice make somebody?
I think so.
You eat rice in Nigeria if you can afford it.
Oh, wow.
So let me not tell you what I ate because you might not like that. Okay, welcome to another day on Signature TV, newspaper headline review, and you're told who I am. Let's start with Times, Daily Times.
Yes.
FG, okay, before that time, tax identification number is not mandatory for bank account opening. Federal Inland Revenue Service clarifies. The banks were making quick clarification to tell people because anything that will affect them, they don't care whatever other condition the new tax reform in Nigeria brought. Banks quickly want to exonerate themselves because they know those who are down, people they are just trying to get everybody to go and open accounts, and their banks are smiling to their banks on this blood and sweat of all Nigerians, because it's only Nigeria has seen banks declaring trillions of profit, while the bankers, people who bank with them, are dying and crying. So I don't know how this works. But I know it's a system designed to make sure the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. Because you are lured into opening an account, everything about that account you pay for. If you pay somebody, you buy ugu of 10 naira from your neighbor, you pay with your account, bank charge.
Yes, true.
And charge the person who you transfer the money to. What criminality? And nobody's talking about it. They should have tied themselves down and say that every Nigerian should have tax identification number, and let the banks, we have the same shortfall that consumption of fuel in Nigeria is having. They will all tie themselves down, and long delay, one day, they will only find themselves having those who have tax identification number. The woman who sells Ugu, they started it and it was a story going viral. Somebody was making analysis. A woman who sells Ugu in the market goes to a bank and said, I just want to start saving account, and they say, where is your tax identification number? The woman said that since I was born, I've been in Obete market selling Ogo. I don't have tax. I said, okay, you have to. Now they've cleared it. We thank God for them. But they cleared it for their own sake. They do not clarify. Federal Inland Revenue have not clarified everything about tax reform in Nigeria. They need to clarify this. But there are so many things that are there in new tax policy that Nigerians do not know. So probably they start with the one that affect bank because they are all the same circle. Now, FG expands schools feeding program to
50 million
pupils.
Wow.
My question, beautiful. Beautiful. Federal government feeding Nigerian children. But Uche and Lilian, in my stay in life, with the number of years I've stayed, I've never seen one child near me in Enugu, near in my village that has been fed. Out of the ones they have fed and declared billions they used to feed Nigerian children, especially during COVID. They brought that figure with the woman who was in charge. Nobody. Was the school feeding? Was Southeast excluded? That's the question. Were some schools that were even in my own village excluded? If they were, I would have known that at least the one child came back and said, we are fed in school today. Where are these children being fed? And now they add 50 million. You know, that's how the budget will. How many were they fed before? Where are they located? With the extra 50 million, do we have ghost children being fed? You imagine where 50 million children in Nigeria is being fed. It's almost the whole Nigerian child. Because if you have about 240 million people, if 50 million of them are children that need to be fed, that means we are going somewhere. But so many, that's why I keep saying the federal government might have beautiful ideas and have even good political will to him. Corruption along the line are not monitored. I have not seen any child fed. So with new 50 million added, maybe the children around me might be among them. So good luck. Thank God for Nigeria. We are making progress.
All right, well,
resident doctors?
Yes, suspend morning strike. Yeah.
And they said we are banking on every
assurances, yes.
You know what that means? When people of the citizens of the country who are professionals and they are critical in critical service saying, let's try again, let's bank on. You know what it means? Let me trust you at this time. It meant that federal government have never kept policy agreement with workers. Go and ask Nigerian Labour Congress. So the resident doctor said, let us take it as a risk, at least trust. For Bible said, two people can walk on the road without agreement. Let us try and walk. It means that the federal government are challenged to meet the agreement because once beaten, twice shy. If these resident doctors say, let's trust government, and at the end of it all, they come back and say, government has failed us, like many NLC and TUC people are crying, federal government failed in our agreement. ASU said the agreement of 2009 or 2002, whatever, has not been met. We just hope that federal government will redeem their image with this resident doctors agreement. So that at least, it's not every day that fowl or chicken will die in front of Fox house. Let Fox once die in chicken house so that they will say, hey, it's not business as usual. So federal government, the ball is in their court. And that's it. So let's move on.
We're seeing that NDLEA nabs Indian businessman with 3.9 billion naira tramadol at Lagos airport.
It's only where consumption is that supply. Where demand is, supply follows. My simple knowledge of, if there are no demand and consumption of tramadol in Nigeria, why should India man take a risk to smuggle tramadol in Nigeria when he knows that Nigeria had banned it and is it's like ahiu, forbidden fruit in Nigeria. But the consumption of drugs in Nigeria among youth, we discussed it on this desk, is breakneck. even our security forces, people. You heard there are these going forth and back. Even our pilots, even our pastors. There have been cases of pastors who are on drug. There are cases, Nigerian youth, if you put 100 of them, 80 are one kind of addiction of drug or another. And the country, they tell you, and these are the people you call the youth of tomorrow. The way Lillian is looking at me, I don't even know whether Lillian is. So I don't know which one. But what I'm trying to say is, we are not at home. So the captain, Indian man, they were there, hey, good news, but the one that they didn't catch, who are consuming them, who are moving them around, who are distributing them, even when the security forces are involved in drug abuse. No, everybody with there. After we don't tie ourselves down, we say, God will help you. God can only help those who want to help themselves. Let's move on.
Recapitalization.
Recapitalization, then it has to do with what I said before. 6 months, they're already talking. 6 months, they can recapitalize in 2 months, in 2 weeks and all. After all, they've done it before. But 4 banks has already recapitalized. With the amount they ask them for recapitalization, where are they getting it in the bad economy?
Okay.
If the banks are not robbing Nigerians, it's Nigeria that are robbing the banks. But you can see the case. Before they say recapitalization, 4 has already recapitalized. Where are they getting the money? When an average Nigerian cannot feed once. So how is this money? Where is it coming from? But you know, in Nigeria is a place where one individual might have 500 billion in one bank account. And a bank that has one such account, routine and throwing and round robin, we don't even need another. Every other one is just jara to show you they're doing business, because they already have one-man bank who has made them. And you see, this Nigeria, you have corrupt money flowing around Nigeria's system. So how can you have illegal flow of funds in a system and you think that the economy will stabilize? The world, they're watching and laughing at us. So let the banks recapitalize. The ones that cannot recapitalize, let them join us and park at home. After all, some of us are not using our Tokubo cars. We didn't recapitalize going to to buy fuel. So we have packed. If they cannot recapitalize, let them fall. We shouldn't waste energy about that.
Speaking of cars and fuel, on the Vanguard newspaper, how attendants manipulate pumps, extort petrol consumers nationwide.
Every generation, I repeat, every country, every group of people and community, every time and period, we determine the kind of thing. See, Nigerians are fantastically and terribly corrupt in all facets, from head to toe. The fact is, we can argue where are the ones that are down, learning. But my father said, when the big goat is eating the fodders, the small ones are watching the mouth. If attendants in filling stations have been manipulating Nigerians at high cost of fuel, just one day that Nupeng said they would go on strike, fuel sold in ENUGU 1,500. We came to work with 300 naira. We were going home with 600. Nobody said it. This is a country where everybody along the line is, if you're moving around, the politicians in long convoy, it's like, I'm waiting for my turn. Waiting for my turn. Some people go to court and they pray in God. I want to be like, nobody want to do anything. Everybody looking for opportunity to take the pound of flesh from the brother or the sister. But we all forgot. We are getting rich every day, massing, doing buga, doing party. We make corrupt money, go to church or mosque and do Thanksgiving, and people will clap for us. And they forgot what the proverb of bone and silence said. Anybody who has eaten the brother or the sister for dinner went to bed on empty stomach. They won't understand. What goes around comes around. Any man who does celebrated Christmas for a mother-in-law with fake dollar, he will take back what he has given out. Nigerians are taking what they are giving out. Every single role, people find themselves, they are cheating each other. Everybody. Go to the market. Before you say, people say the food has come down. There are reports everywhere. But the market, the people selling food in ENUGU. I'm talking about, because I am a loud-mouthed native doctor. I don't do juju for bad people. In ENUGU, the market women refuse to bring down food prices. They will find one reason. If they don't call Tinubu, they will call Peter Mba. They will do this. They will call everybody and find reason not to bring down the price of food. And they think they are making it because you corrupt the money, you finish it, you drop it, give it to another person. That's why everybody is running around the restless run of low cost. Nobody is safe. So we are tying ourselves down, thinking we are making it. So that manipulation has been there a long time. The day I cried, I went to NNPC, filling station in ENUGU, to fill a tank. And normally what fill my tank? Then, that day I cried, I will look, a girl, look at my face, I don't know what he put in my, the thing got to a point where it would have filled my tank. It was still going up to double. Moving at the point I said, what is happening? I beg. I didn't come here with tanker. This is a small car I normally fill with an amount. It became an issue. I have to pay. So they know how they manipulate this. But they couldn't have manipulated it and going home without the owners of the filling station. They know. Everybody know they are corrupt. So if you get corrupt on your own side, you give the other person chance. There was viral video of how the people are manipulating people in the bank. I don't know whether you saw that. The person was confessing. He covered his face and said how they add every day. They will send you 550 naira maintenance fee. They can send you 4 times in a month or in two weeks. They'll know how they gauge the account and know how much they will send in because of those little money. But the man himself summed up and said, imagine a customer in a bank of about 50,000 and you have taken 50 naira every day. He said they make their salary be 1 week 500 times over.
Wow.
That's Nigeria. So you are talking about this one. We've not seen, everybody just look. Anywhere you put your hand in that bad side, they must see shit. Nigerians are full of it.
All right. Moving forward, parents struggle to steep tuition hike as schools wrestle rising.
That's operational expenses. You can't beat a child and say you shouldn't cry. The school authorities go to the market to buy chalk, buy flip chart, and buy everything they used to run the school, and you want your child to come at the same cost you came before, whatever goes around comes around. So if the private school operators or even the public schools are running school at expense, and they used to run it with 1 naira in 2023 or before 2023, and your president takes over and said, I remove subsidy. For 1,000 the same day the president took over. Instead of celebrating that same day, we have been crying up till now. Nothing has normalized. Now, it has affected every cost in Nigeria, and they are trying to struggle to say they are stabilizing and all this. It has not stabilized. Now, this is September. Children are going back to school. Everybody is struggling because the schools cannot allow your children to come by free. They've not gotten free education from the states. They've not been watering and firing of free education that they promised us. We have not gotten. So whatever goes around comes around. So good luck all the parents. But we know we are the Christian fathers. Some of us are grandfathers. So if your children are coming now to complain that my children, I can't pay for children in nursery school, well, that's where you get your own share of
All right. On the Punch, we have the emergency rule issue. Ibas defends his 6-month tenure as opposition demands probe.
You caught a giant on the ground. It's not Nigerians are wonderful people. They're so deceitful and they're not telling themselves the truth. A giant, you put giant down, you were lying flat, helpless. You wouldn't slap the giant. It was when the giant someone energy and stood up, you begin to talk, you want to slap them. Is it not waste of energy and foolishness? Abbas has been put there for 6 months. National Assembly approved. Good luck. Everybody, good, not the good luck, Jonathan. But they say, well, Mark, Federal House of Reps, National Assembly, Senate, distinguished senators, everybody. And the man sat there quietly, receiving budget, disposing budget, appointing people, spending money, using humongous amount to put camera in government house. He was supposed to stay only 6 months, to put only cameras there. And then spend the money. Now that They're even saying, praying that he will go in 6 months. You say probe. Probe what? Can you use illegality to do illegality? People said constitutionally it's not supposed to be there. So which law? Where are you going to put law to probe the man who were there illegally, did everything illegally, supported by the government of Nigeria and people of Nigeria and the lawmakers of Nigeria illegally, and now he want to go. He want to take him to the same people to illegally probe him. Can illegally probe illegality?
Good
That's
question.
a question, food for thought.
Very good
they won't say
question.
that me talking.
So we'll
There's a lot
time.
of hanky-panky at Lagos Airport. Not only Lagos Airport, but Lagos is the hub of travelers in Nigeria.
Yes.
So if you know what Dumi Wood at airport in Lagos has done to Nigerian image, there were times that the Oyibos were coming with small virus. They were recording activities and they played back in the international community. They've written Nigeria off. The kind of hanky-panky that happen in our airports, especially at those big hub airports where people come in and go, you cry for Nigeria. But like I have said, like the small girl in the filling station want to get her community big. So if they find a way of taking small, they call it national cake. But I call it national disaster. People are sharing national disaster. Because whatever you use to pick for your teeth can never belittle you.
All right.
God bless all of you that have watched. God bless the beautiful girls that have been here with me.
Thank
and
you.
God bless all those who have been there, and mostly Nigerians. But remember, God's blessing is for those who
deserve to be blessed.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris Maduka. I actually wanted us to talk about Dangote Refinery and Dapman, the accusations and all that. But then, because of time, let's move forward. Thank you so much, Chris Maduka, for that newspaper headlines and review this morning. Do stay with us, because when we return, our conversation continues.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on eVibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
So I should try harder. So
okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hub's on eVibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
With a population of about 36 million people, the Southeast is awash with stories. Every day on Southeast News, we tell the peculiar story of the Southeast and her people.
Our Southeast should be the Silicon Valley of Nigeria.
Their successes, achievements, and daily challenges. Do you have a Southeast story to share? Community achievements and challenges, completed and uncompleted projects, bad roads, water scarcity, erosion, flooding, insecurity, or even disagreements? Bring it on to Southeast News. On Southeast News, no story is too big or too small. Southeast News. Let's tell our story. Showing on Signature TV every weekday at 4 p.m. WAT, 1600 hours GMT.
Governor Siminalayi Fugbara, his deputy, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly were suspended on March 18, 2025, following heightened political tensions over control of the state's political structure. President Bola Tinubu, in declaring the emergency rule, cited what he said was the breakdown of the democratic structure in the state and political tensions. Tinubu, who said he personally tried to mediate among the parties to no avail, argued that the standstill in government deprived the people of the benefits of democratic governance.
In these circumstances, having soberly reflected on and evaluated the political situation in Rivers State, and the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State, having failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 305, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Siminalayi Fugbara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Oju, and all elected members of the House of Assembly State are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months.
With the outcome of the last local government election held under the outgoing administrator, the balance of power has shifted back toward the Wike camp, leaving Governor Fugbara politically exposed as he prepares to return to office. This has raised concern about how Fugbara will be able to pilot the affairs of government with an existing Wike-controlled hostile House of Assembly. Rivers citizens and other Nigerians have been weighing the options available to the suspended governor ahead of his much-expected return in the next few days. While some citizens are excited about his comeback, others advise that resignation may be his best option under the prevailing political conditions. According to them, Fugbara should resign shortly after resumption, arguing that working under what they describe as unfavorable conditions would reduce him to a mere puppet.
As a gentleman, you understand, the best thing you should come is to come and resume. Then maybe after a few months, maybe 1 month to 6 months, you understand, let him put a resignation. Okay. You understand? Okay. That is my candid opinion. Because you cannot push a man to the wall and expect him to be on that wall without reacting. You understand? He should take action and resign, and that should be the best thing for him.
As you see, once I resume office today, maybe 2 weeks or a week later, I resign and I I will have my respect. That is what I will do. Because for me to come back now, there's a lot that is going to do.
Others say the governor should maintain peace by sticking to the agreement brokered with his political benefactor and godfather to ensure that governance continues smoothly.
Let them settle within themselves and let peace reign. Nobody is happy when he's not in the state. Nobody is happy. So let him not repeat himself again. For me, that is what I think it should be. They should comply with them and let them work together whichever way. Even if it didn't work well again, more Rivers person will blame him because he started well and we all see what happened. So that is just...
We are praying that as him and the boss settle, everything will move forward. That's what we are praying.
If you come now like this now, you guys see the play with Wike small. So when you don't know, say yes, you don't get the state himself. Then you act your own way to go act for your power as a full governor.
He's a peaceful man, rather. I will advise him to just maintain the peace that he has always been. And then leave Rivers people because he's not living himself, he's living the Rivers people. So he's working for the people. As a governor, you are serving the people. So let him just maintain the peace.
A section of residents is, however, expressing joy over his anticipated return, hopeful that it will revive governance and abandoned projects and restore leadership after months under a sole administrator.
He has that good mindset from the offset. We know, we are seeing him. So he will finish all the projects and likely do new projects before the timeline. Honestly, yes.
We are thinking that if he comes, he don't know whether government will be able. But when he comes back, he will know that government.
By the way, governor, is a governor of Rivers State. So let him come and take his position as a governor of Rivers State. So he should not come and be like a boy to Wike. Everybody knows he's a governor of Rivers State. So we need him to come back. Let him come back.
Analysts posit that if the hostilities in the state continue and Wike maintains his victory stand, Fugbara may find himself boxed into Rivers government house with little control beyond the executive council that may translate to slow service delivery. So, will his return mark a fresh start for governance or a continuation of political tensions? Only time will tell.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens. One that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
We are local.
International communities observing every
Why the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
The conference hall was filled with vibrant voices of young leaders, policy advocates, entrepreneurs, and development partners. Discussions focused on practical strategies to move Africa away from donor dependency and towards self-reliant, sustainable growth. Speakers emphasized the importance of innovation, leadership, and collaboration in tackling Africa's most pressing challenges, from education and health to governance and economic development. The convener of the convention, Ikenna Ezenwa, decried Africa's dependence on foreign aid and eschewed the youth to change the narrative.
I welcome you warmly to Young African Leaders Conference 2025. Welcome to a gathering where ideas will become strategies, where challenges will be imaged as opportunities, where networks will be built across borders, and where youth leadership will not be postponed, but executed and exercised today. I urge you to engage deeply, to think critically, to collaborate sincerely and act courageously. Let us prove through our deliberations and our actions that Africa's future is not a question mark, but an exclamation, bright, bold, and unstoppable. Together, let us declare that Africa's story will no longer be written by others, but by Africans themselves.
Enugu State Governor Peter Mba described the event as apt, especially now that the world is evolving and throwing up more challenges for the Nigerian youth. Mba, who was represented by the Commissioner for Labour and Employment, Dr. Felix Nnamani, expressed gratitude to the organizers for choosing Enugu State as host for the Converge and urged them to sustain the tempo.
I won't bore you because a lot of speakers have been engaged to talk to us this afternoon. But the idea of this aid has been a headache to me growing up too. Because there's no justification for it. They are not using it to address the needs of our people. Rather, it comes as a loan that generations after generations were not able to pay them. It's worrisome. I like the spirit in the young man who is leading this conference, who has put this together. There's always a God factor in all that we do.
Commissioner for Youth and Sports, represented by his Special Assistant on Student Affairs, Divine Ekweremadu, advised youths to equip themselves for leadership positions. This, he said, is the only way that they can make a greater impact in the society and take their rightful place.
And I tell you this, if you are not giving yourself to self-development, you are not building yourself everything. The day God will announce you, the day you will find the opportunity, you will not be ready. A lot of people are going to walk through the doors. A lot of people are going to become networked, like they are doing now. A lot of people will walk into the opportunities. But guess what? They will have no story, they will have no experience. And so when they tell you to volunteer, when they tell you not to wait for leadership opportunities, to do the things that you need to do, it is so that you can gain the scars, you can gain the experience, you can gain the story to tell.
Keynote speaker Dr. Sharon Waswa from Kenya advocated for a shift from aid dependence to self-sustenance and a redefinition of the narrative that Africa is a troubled continent.
If a youth group was to run a solar irrigation cooperative, and you can go from selling pumps, because a lot of people sell pumps, to selling liters of water delivered, and having farmers or people pay for the liters during the season. The cooperative will maintain uptime, you will get money, and you will get paid for performance because you deliver on the liters of water. And that's not charity, it's a contract that you have created with farmers. You're not handing them pumps, they get water, they pay for the water.
One of the speakers, Val Okafor, spoke on transformational leadership, saying that one does not need a special position to take up responsibility.
The kind that Africa is looking for, a style of leadership that puts premium on bringing out the best out of people. There's a book that is written, The Men Who Built America, not the politicians who built America, but the men who built America.
The central message from this conference is that Africa's future lies not in foreign aid, but in the creativity, resilience, and leadership of its young people. From the Amadio Event Center in Enugu, Raymond Ken Mbata reporting for Signature TV.
Welcome back. Now, the countdown is on Anambra State governorship election coming up in November. And as the campaigns heat up, concerns are growing fast about the issue of, instead of addressing the real issues that matter to the people, we are finding that the political space is dominated by mudslinging, name-calling, and personal attacks. So, the question now is, how can we redirect the conversation back to the issues that affect the lives of Anambra people? Now, joining us this morning via phone call is Sir Obiora Opala. He is a politician. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like you said, my name is Obiora Opala. Okay, I'm a consultant in National Assembly. I've been an aide in National Assembly for 18 years, and I've been on the corridors of politics in Anambra State. So it is not a new thing for me, but what is going on at this moment is quite unfortunate. Quite unfortunate in the sense that this is the state that produced the greats, what you mean the greats, in politics, in literature, in economics, in social, in management, in commerce, in trading, buy and sell. This is a state that have produced the best in Nigeria. You can't talk about, financial institutions, the Pius Okibo, the rest of them, the Chino Achebe, the Nnamdi Azikiwe. But unfortunately, what we are seeing now is a complete departure from what is known of Anambra State.
Exactly,
Some few years ago, during the Obiano tenure, somebody I met in the office of the Accountant General. When I said I'm from Anambra, he said, "Oh, Anambra is one of the best," and so that they are very quick, that they don't have issues, that salaries are paid on time, public servants are not owed in Anambra. I said, hold on. I told him that is no longer a standard for Anambra. That Anambra surpassed that standard when Prince Ngige was governor, even before Peter became on board. Salary payment was no longer an issue. So we were not rating ourselves that this is a state where civil servants and pensioners are paid. No. We've gone beyond that. We've set standards.
All right.
Peter became.
All right, Mr. Opala, can you just hold on for a moment? Now, looking at the conversation that we're having this morning, looking at the recent reports that the Anambra State's gubernatorial campaign has descended into sleaze and mudslinging, what do you believe is what has triggered this shift away from issue-based politics?
I'm coming to that. You see, let me tell you, the unfortunate thing is that Anambra people got carried away by the fact that we have a professor, a professor of theory. The most unfortunate thing is that Anambra people voted Governor Charles Soludo, a professor, a theorist. I was in National Assembly, senior aide when he was governor of Central Bank. I don't want to go into that. But the fact is that Anambra people have seen him. The people of Anambra, the positive minds have seen that Soludo had nothing to offer in governance. For 3 years, Soludo was just sleeping. Suddenly, Soludo woke up. He's trying to do roads. And let me tell you one thing. You know, once of the time that the governor had gone to see the president, you know what he came to do? Governor Dave Umai, Minister Dave Umai, who is the Minister of Works, is a close friend to him. So what he came to do was to ask the president for reimbursement of roads. And Soludo will come asking for reimbursement of federal roads. The Amobia Agolo, Nanke Ukulobia is a federal road. The Agolo, Nobi, Newi Okija are federal roads. And these are roads that he's building and was coming to apply for reimbursement from the federal government. Then you put on these cards that say progressive and come and tell people that the president is endorsing him. But we are waiting to see if Tinubu will make a statement that is endorsing him. And instead of him to tell Anambra what he has done with all our security votes, all the money allocations, federal allocations he has been getting from the Ministry of Finance, he now went into, yabbing, let me use that word. He goes for functions, instead of him to talk to the Anambra, sell his manifesto and say what he wants to do, what he has done and what he's going to do. He will just pick candidates, pick on politicians. He has done that to several candidates. He did that to Kachuku. He did that to the former aspirant Val Ozibo during the investiture into also title of DIG Okolo of 4CID Abuja. He did that to him. And now he got to Ucheku and started questioning a woman who has done so well. He's one of the best political material to have in Anambra State. Her representation in the 9th Assembly is something that you have projects. He did projects like he was a state governor. But what has Soludo done? You are in Enugu. Look at Mba. Few weeks ago, I was in Enugu. Mba opened up presidential hotel. I got into the ICC International Conference Center. I was marveled. I saw the litany of works that have been done in this state. Why would Soludo wait for 3 years before you start doing roads? On this road, now they have done the roads, so they've broken the roads, they destroy people's properties, and Soludo has the effrontery to tell Anambra people that he will not pay compensation. You broke properties that people have labored. You know, Anambra people don't base at home. They are migrants, and they are commercial migrants, they are financial migrants. They go out and work and come back to the state to develop the state. And you have broken a lot of people's properties, and you say you're not going to pay compensation. And instead of you to tell the Anambra what you have done, look at insecurity. My sister, do you know that you cannot drive in from Agolo to Nnewi after 6:30? You need to be brave. You need to have catalog of security vehicles following you. Have you seen Soludo's entourage in recent time? If you see Soludo's entourage, you think that Soludo is in Somalia. It's quite unbecoming. So instead of slinging, which are in the politics in Anambra State, it's unfortunate that people like Senator Uche Kunife have had to join him into all these things. But then, when a woman has been pushed in a forum where you have men as the men operators, you know, talking down on women who are achievers without using denigrations on them, you know, like they are not also achievers on a platform which is dominated by men. It's unfortunate, but the fact is that the governor has nothing to show to the Anambra, and insecurity is at its lowest. Hello?
Yes, we are with you.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Yes, insecurity is at its lowest in Anambra. 2 days ago, I was coming back from Onitsha. I got to where they call, if you're coming from the timber market in Ogidi, on the road to Abatete. And these guys mounted a roadblock there. They are not properly dressed. In fact, even though that I have seen their vehicle parked, I would have taken off.
Hello, Mr. Okbala. Mr. Okbala, can you hear us? All right, we're going to go on a break right now. I think the network is disturbing.
We are local.
The international community is observing every
Why the main market is in chaos? People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken it to by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Very lucky. My son is involved in he's very creative, because it's not a question of rolling out, churning out students as a mere conventional certificate carrying graduates, paper tiger, so to speak. At the end of the day, there's nothing to offer. After all, Nigerian government have told you, it knew on printable terms that they can no longer offer employment. So that's why they introduced the entrepreneurial development. So my son has been able to learn one skill or the other. He now builds what they call, is it palm? spam or whatever.
Okay.
So he places online. If they place online requests, they will bid. It doesn't affect his studies. So, gladdened by that sense of initiative and independence, I had to give him money, about 50,000 naira, to encourage him. And now he has finished. He has now graduated.
Oh.
And now he's now going to expand his vision. That is creative thought, that talent will now begin to unlock that innate hidden potentials in them. It will now blow fast. So that's the thing. But now, instead of going to Yahoo, or going to what do you call it, this Man U Chelsea club.
Betting.
Betting. No. He now sees something that keeps him busy. Is it clear? It's because he has been able to find out from the family he grew from. He has not seen the sense of direction father has given. He has not seen that discipline. It's not a question of abandonment of responsibility, application of no, that's not the issue. So that's why I'm particularly happy about that. The next time now he goes to Port Harcourt or whatever for youth service, I'm sure when he gets to NYC camp, he now begins to market and package his product very well. Thereby becoming that penchant for survival is already in him. With apology, do you know that university education or education is not meant for everybody?
Why so?
Yes, there are people who are naturally endowed with potentials, but they are yet unlocked. You need a lot of encouragement. Is it clear? Encouragement. So you need to promote that. You need to tell them, do this, do that, in order to survive, in order to be self-independent, in order to erase from their negative mindset this issue of entitlement mentality. That is what the problem. But down that in looking at it, he didn't find it, it becomes a problem, begins to throw it back on you.
Now we're moving on to a different topic, looking on the recent JAM computer-based test result glitches and what really happened. We know that this CBT result glitches exposed over 6,000 cases of technology-driven cheating in the 2025 UTME, including things like biometric manipulation, AI impersonation, and the likes. And so we have joining us via Zoom this morning, Jake Epele. He's the president, Albino Foundation, and the chairman, JAM CBT Glitches Investigation Committee. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. I'm the CEO, TAF Africa. We changed our name from the Albino Foundation to TAF Africa.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, looking at this JAM computer-based results glitches and seeing, the issues arising from finger blending and AI and the likes, I'd like you to tell us what really happened, what is that about, how much of these are already proven and how much of these are still under investigation?
I think I'd like to start by, putting forward a caveat. And that's to say that clearly that the views that I'll be sharing today are my independent opinion based on the Special Committee on Examination Infraction set up by JAM. I was privileged to be the chairman of that committee, committee of eminent members, vice chancellors, professors, DSS, police, Private Proprietors Association, NAN. NAN president was represented in my committee. So my views do not in any way represent the views of JAM, nor the Federal Ministry of Education or any government body. I'm speaking as an independent person who was involved in the process. I'm proud to, by the grace of God, that I was chairman of the committee. We have since submitted our report It was submitted on the 8th of September at JAMB corporate headquarters at 9:15. So the report is in the hand of Professor Leode. Now, that said, the Committee on Infraction was inaugurated on the 18th of August, and we were given several mandates. The scope of our work was to review over 6,400 suspected cases of malpractice, examine the role of technology, identify systemic loopholes where necessary, recommend structural reforms to restore credibility. I just gave you that in summary. Our approach was to take a fact-finding mission in state CBT centers and even the JAM system. We did digital forensic on exam records. There was stakeholder interview, stakeholders engagement, parents engagement, examination of official engagement technology, and so on and so forth, computer review of global best practices. If you still give me time, I can tell you what our findings were. Number one, technology-based fraud. I repeat, technology-based fraud. Over 4,251 cases of finger blending. Now, what does finger blending mean? It's using impersonators through biometric compromise. So they use several fingers and use that to gain access into the CBT center. And then the fraudulent examination taker will then sit in with the actual candidate and take that exam and submit. That's just one leg of it. The other one is 190 cases of AI image morphing or image blending. That's allowing imposters to bypass biometric check. That's just in a layman language. So they can take, because the target mostly were persons with albinism, so they can take the face of persons with albinism, blend it with an imposter, and then that imposter will have access to the examination hall using the face that have been blended from the face of persons with albinism. The other thing is the unauthorized remote access to exam servers in the center. So we found out that these CBT centers can create a pseudo or a fake examination strong room. So while the actual candidate who is sitting in the CBT center pretending, using his mouse, if you can see my mouse, he will use his mouse as though he is or she is writing the exams and submitting. Meanwhile, that person's system has been mirrored, okay? And the person in the strong room, the imposter in the strong room, is the person who is doing the exam and submitting to JAM. Some of these CBT centers, not all of them, had gone as far as covering JAM's monitoring camera with tissue paper. So they will see holistically what is going on in the CBT centers. So this is just to capture in essence a summary of the report. I will tell you what our findings were, why some of those things happened, if you want me to go into that. Otherwise, I'll take your question.
You can go ahead, please.
Okay. So one, we found out one was institutional weakness. Poor regulation of CBT centers enabled collusion. So what that simply means is that these CBT centers I think JAM has done a good job. Again, I don't work for JAM. I'm not speaking on their behalf, but I'm telling you what my committee, that I'm very proud of the work we did, found out. So some of these CBT centers, the way they were co-opted and the collaboration with JAM and all that, there's no holistic regulation, okay, which is not, I won't blame it on JAM, because some of the things we are finding out now was never in existence before. So it's a new tough for JAM. But poor regulation is one of the findings. Inadequate vetting of supervisors and invigilators. So on the part of, because of how huge the number is and all that, in hiring, sometimes JAM, I'm one of the invigilators, all right, but for the special exams. So there's constant training of these invigilators, okay? But it's never enough. So we discovered that there's a need to train the supervisors and the invigilators. There's gap in chain of custody of exam materials. We also discover a bit of gap. All of these things have been submitted to JAM. There's cultural and social drivers to some of these malpractices. Pressure from parents and schools fueling demands for shortcut solutions. Let me say this. 80% of the malpractice are traceable, not all, but most parents. Most parents that are willing to pay these imposters, and the payment can go as, it's lucrative, it can go as far as 250,000 to 1 million naira, depending on the kind of score that you want. Some of these CBT centers that will go and advertise that, oh, if your child has F9, we'll make sure that your child, will tutor your child, and before you know it, the child will have 380. It's fallacy. They are just advertising imposters that they will hire to take these exams on behalf of these sometimes innocent children. But most times their parents are aware. Other times, the children are the one that contracts and then bring their parents to ask them to pay. Of course, so there is a commercial syndicate exploiting the weakness for profit. There's a commercial syndicate, some of them we identified. The fourth thing that I found out is legal and enforcement gap. So we found out there were weak prosecution of offenders leading to repeat violations, you know. Now, you know that even the current situation in JAM has a legal unit, but that legal unit is not recognized by the JAM Act. So they cannot go to court and stand up to represent JAM. So JAM will have to hire lawyers and pay them handsomely. And oftentimes when they pay them, even the police that goes to investigate matters, JAM will have to give them money, you know. JAM will have to give them money. And then, of course, the issue is that by the time sometimes they get to the point where they are going to be, you know, they will face the judge. Oftentimes, the judge will postpone the case. That means that all that money is wasted, both the lawyer and the police. You know, there is lack of synergy between JAM, security agencies, and judiciary. Please underline the word lack. That does not mean it does not exist. That means it's insufficient. Okay? So there is some synergy between JAM and security agents, but we need to heighten that. Maybe I should stop if you ask me a few questions because I want to go into key recommendations.
All right. As
You're overwhelmed.
the JAMB, as the investigation office and the chairman of the investigation, we know that technical glitches, in many CBT centers have been blamed for low scores and result discrepancies. How would you distinguish a real, honest glitch and irregularities, as you have said? What is the difference?
No system is perfect. We're on Zoom. I am privileged to have a satellite connection, so you have a stable internet interface. But no system is perfect, So there are times, yes, there will be down times and up times in system. But let me say to you, without fear of favor, that we found out that JAMB actually has one of the best systems in Africa because we did benchmarking. So we wanted to see what system does JAMB have. And in my team, I had a former Microsoft Cloud lead in Africa. He's a Nigerian, he's a friend. I brought him into the committee. He's a Microsoft Cloud lead. So we had technologists. The head of my investigation team is the vice chancellor of the University of Jos. He's a cybercrime expert. So I had expertise. So my investigations were thorough, systematic, and foolproof. I can tell you that. Although I can't claim that everything was perfect, but the truth is, JAMB has one of the best systems. The issue of glitches are very minor, except the glitches that these criminal CBT centers, and syndicates created. Some of them created the glitches, That does not mean that there were no glitches. There were glitches, but some of them created it and faked it in order to perfect what they wanted to do, So that's a pure answer and an honest, straightforward answer to your question.
All right. It's nice to hear that most of the equipment used were foolproof, but I would like to know how many of these CBT centers were implicated, just on a general note or on an average. How many of these CBT centers were implicated, and would you say that there is a pattern, maybe according to state or the center type or the operators of these centers? What is it looking like?
You asked a very intelligent question. I don't have this report. There are three volumes. The first is more like the executive summary and everything. The second is all the minutes of the subcommittee. The third is the minutes of the committee itself. So if you put all the pages together, it's over 600 pages. So I don't have the actual figure of some of the CBT centers that we investigated and found culpable. I don't have the actual figure, and I don't want to give you guesstimate, all right? But there were CBT centers that we implicated, and there are CBT centers that JAMB has implicated and handed over to us to collaborate, and we did collaborate. That those CBT centers have questions to answer. Some of them have been arrested, and recently what we are doing according to Cybercrime Act, once they are arrested, they confiscate all their equipment. So the trouble starts with the CBT centers. And then of course some private schools, and all that. Most of the fraud starts at the point of registration. It is alarming what is happening. Especially with the help of AI, the fraudsters have perfected their act, and many of them have millions in their accounts. So it's a very lucrative trade for many of them, and that's why one of our key recommendations was to strengthen technology safeguards by deploying all-powered biometrics verification with anti-morphing software. That will checkmate that. We talked about centralizing data access to reduce CBT center manipulation. Now, my dear, we are talking about JAM. I see worst case scenario in WAEC. I see worst case scenario in NECO. They don't have the kind of technology and the structure and the training and personnel that JAM have. JAM has been doing this over the years, and now from the fillers, NECO and WAEC are going to be using their own CBT centers, I guarantee you there'll be more trouble.
All right, let's take a look at the feedback, or let's say the impact of this situation. How do you think universities and future employers will actually view this situation, and will there be lasting damage to the credibility of JAM process?
It's not only JAM process. I'm beginning to, the certificates of even some of the universities right now are questionable. Let me tell you, I put a call through to a friend of mine in the United States, and I'll call name Professor Iyala Peterside, who is a professor of pediatrics in University of Pennsylvania, and he was in the education sector here. He was a lecturer before he went to the United States, and what he told me was alarming. He said, right now in the whole of America, when anybody, any student comes to America, either to get into school or looking for a job, and presents a Nigerian certificate, they treat it like toilet paper. They would subject the person to a fresh examination. I don't care what university. They will subject the person to a fresh examination. And oftentimes, they fail. Most times, some of them succeed, but most times they fail. I can tell you that maybe conservatively, 10–15% of all the certificates that are being paraded in Nigeria are fake. Fake. It's either they bought the certificate, from some very well-known universities. Some of them have so perfected the act that they sell the certificate to somebody for 2.5 million. This is not hearsay, and they will make sure that they have backup documents in the file at the university. So if you want to come and verify, they say yes, it's true, but all of that fake. How do you know that? Just engage the person. Just mere conversation. You begin to wonder, did this person actually go to school? So that's where we are today.
Right. Now, I would like to know, what is the way forward? Like you mentioned earlier, you have some recommendations after the entire process. So I'd like to hear what those recommendations are.
I'll give you a few. There are several. What I did was to do a summary of the report so that I can present facts and figures in the interview. And I must say that as young as you guys are, young journalists, you ask very intelligent questions. Number one, I've talked about strengthening technology safeguards. Number two is institutional reforms. There's a need for strict accreditation and periodic audit of these CBT centers. Two, introduction of an independent oversight body for examination monitoring. Now, this is our recommendation, but I think the time has come for Federal Ministry of Education to begin to think in the direction of how do we bring, creating a synergy because the investment in silos is costing the country a lot. So you can imagine where we have one central CBT center that takes care of all the examination body. These exams don't happen the same time. Even if they happen the same, let's change the dates so that we can use the same architecture, and deliver. Because if we do, it will cost less. The training of those that will man it would have been there already. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. So there is a need to do that. There is an issue we found out that is a major, which I call cultural orientation. There's a need to invest in national campaign. We call it Integrity First campaign, and let it be handled by professionals. JAM have passed the stage of half hour of JAM on TV, half hour of JAM on radio. It won't give you anything. We need a strategic advertisement campaign, public relations to change perception. We also discovered that many parents, were talked into these fraudulent processes. Many students were also talked into it, although it's not an excuse for violating the law, but there's a need to inform. Professor Oluyede is a very articulate professor. There's a need to embark on town hall meetings where we engage parents, engage people, go around, at least go take the senatorial zone. That's as part of sensitization. Inform the people. Many people are charging more for what JAM is asking them to pay. And the schools, some of them are these private schools, they say, oh, it's for administrative purposes. But they put it as though it's JAM fee. It's not correct. I think JAM pays 700 and 7,000 something. There are people that charges 8,000, 10,000, 15,000. So there's a need for parent-teachers engagement on dangers of malpractices. Now, legal framework is another recommendation that we made. The legal framework and enforcement action. Establish a. We are calling for a special court, not tribunal, a special court that would try examination malpractices, so that the justice can be dispensed with speed, and we want to see these offenders in jail. Big man that is listening to me, warn your children instead of you waiting for the child to get into trouble and you start calling Abuja and start threatening. And because you have power, you have money, you will order immediately for the release of your son. Meanwhile, your son has committed crime. And then other things is, oh, don't demonize the child. The Child Rights Act has juvenile offender component. Let it be activated. Collaborate with security agencies for real-time investigation. Now, I can give you more way forward recommendation. We talked about investing in forensic technology. We talked about multi-stakeholders collaboration. We talked about accountability and sanction. We talked about sustainability, monitoring, and review. That's, in brief, the recommendation that we made. If you're running out of time, I would like to make a very important closing remarks. However, I'm open to more questions.
All right. I actually wanted to ask you the potential consequences for those who are found wanting in this particular issue.
Yeah, some of the people we interrogated are already they're going through prosecution. Many are in jail, but not as much as we want to see. Let me also say what my colleagues in the media, you know, we need to be very careful. This tendency and practice of sensational journalism, I think we need to be very, don't just put anybody on camera and the person starts making claims, because that's what some of these parents did. Their child, went to them crying, I scored highest, Jan gave me this. And they out of ignorance in some cases, go on air. Because they have connections, they call the owners of the TV station and they come and start embarrassing Jam, you know, without you, the media house owners, going to Jam first. Let's say I want to present this report, okay? Anybody can claim that he's the chairman of this. But what's the evidence? You probably had called Jam, and Jam says to you, yes, you know, Dr. Pele was the chairman of Jam. And by the way, my doctorate is honorary. It's not, I don't have a PhD. Okay, so you know, that kind of practice, you know, it's important that you double check before you put the person on. I mean, go to the likes of BBC, CNN, they will interrogate a story before that story goes on air. Yeah.
All right, Dr. J.K. Pele, we are so sorry. This is where we draw the curtains because of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Give me 30 seconds and I'll make this statement. You know, we are fast losing the integrity in education, and the foundation of every nation and the future of every nation is education. If we fold our hands and keep quiet, we will promote manipulation at the expense of meritocracy. We need to allow meritocracy to prevail. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. CEO TAF Africa Foundation and the Chairman JAM CBT Glitches Investigation Committee. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Just call it TAF Africa.
Okay,
right?
TAF Africa.
Yeah, I'm the CEO of TAF Africa. I'm the CEO founder of TAF Africa.
All right, have a lovely day. And that is where we draw the line of that conversation this morning. And coming up next is Political Circle. After that, we'll be bringing to you our Abuja studio with their conversation. Just stay with us.
We are local.
International communities observing
Why the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye.
We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Good morning and welcome to Political Circle on Signature Television. Effective representation means so many things to so many people. For some, especially legislators, it is a term used to position themselves as accomplished legislators who actually are standing in and defending the interests of the people. However, the truth is that effective representation connotes a commitment to advocating for a person, group, or idea in a way that is understood, respected, and achieves desired outcomes. It involves elements like transparency, communication, integrity, and collaboration to foster trust and ensure the needs and views of those represented are heard and acted upon. In Nigeria, the concept of effective representation is now synonymous with our legislators, as most of them claim to be doing well in the hallowed chambers of the various houses of assemblies, the reps, and the Senate. Our focus today on Political Circle is to unravel the true meaning of the concept of effective representation. I am Luke Mbo, and joining me today is an academician and a legislator. Join me in welcoming Professor Sunday Paul Namchi, member representing ENUGU East and Isuzo Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. Prof, you're welcome to Political
Thank
Circle.
you for having me. Thank you.
Let's start by understanding clearly the true meaning of effective representation.
Effective is well explanatory. The legislation is also explanatory, but it is a curvature between politics and governance, whereby because effective representation is the cornerstone between of democracy. Actually, it is a cornerstone because that's what brings out what the people need, and what same time, it's a two-way traffic. You can't claim to be effective in the house and not reflecting at home, and you can't claim that you are very good at home but not having a very effective and responsive policy ideology from the in the various houses you may be. How does that translate? How does what you do in the house translate into a responsiveness at home? And that's what will now be effective. That the two sides are
well covered.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prof. Now, we are talking about effective representation.
Yeah.
How would your people, the people of Enugu East and Isuzo, rate you?
Well, it's difficult to rate yourself. I think that question will be answered by them. Hopefully, when you meet any of them, you ask them, how is Paul doing? How is the legislator doing? But on my own side, I'm trying to do my best to assure, not just to assure my people, but also to make sure that their voice is well heard articulatively in the House. And I should make sure that, while we are 360, as ours will always be a good share, getting a good share for our people. And I also will say I'll thank them for I always say that I'm grateful for them. In two local government years, you are actually elected. That means there is some element of love from them. And the commitment, I've always said, and I want to uphold, and I will do my best to make sure that I justify the trust reposed on me. Effectively, I think I would say that I've done some things that I think, because I always think that my slogan coming into the political sphere from the academics is, let's do it better this time. And I also think my direction all through those times have been, what am I doing to make sure the house is heard? What am I doing to make sure that I have bills that has impact on the people of Nigeria, not just my constituency? What am I doing to make sure that the people of my constituency felt that they are being represented, they are being heard, and that the infrastructure deficits are being addressed by myself? That's what I mean. What I mean by saying that when you are in the other side must have to know what you're doing the other side. And when you're on the other side is a reflection of what you've done from the other side that is coming home. I've actually done that. I represent a lot of people who are downtrodden in terms of health, in terms of academic schooling, or people that are from disadvantaged homes, or indigent as the case may be, or people that might need some of the burden lifted. And I've been doing some work to make sure that they are listed.
Yes, you've been doing some work. Let's go there.
Okay.
There is one that is very, very specific.
Okay.
Let me start with that.
Okay.
The attraction of the Federal University to your constituency and at large to Enugu State and Nigeria generally.
Yeah.
What were the processes like? I know it's not, it wasn't a tea party.
It is not. It is not a tea party, but also I think I would just say that I came from the education background, and I've also known that most time what you, in Enugu, the place I came from, people have always said that, Hana, if I say it in Igbo parlance, that they don't go to school. And rightly as so, you will come back and find out, well, the local government may have the list of professors in the states. So I know that when you have a school, a tertiary institutions, it will be a ginger, it will be a kick or a catalyst to such educational development, and also barring not also talking about the depth of employment that it's going to generate, but also the psyche on the people to see what education can do. Like if you come to the state now, you'll say that you have more professors from the ENUGU non-senatorial zone in the state right now. There is no other magic apart from the fact that UNN was situated there. That is part of it, and it is seen as so. However, then this particular one, I watched one of the bills. As a person, I have now 58 bills. Most of them have almost. Some are also there for assent. I have like 4 for assent already. Some have passed the House, that are in the Senate. So, but among them, these were one of the few ones, the first ones. And I keep on moving because when we came new, there was this idea that the bill are just for formality, that after all nothing will be done. But I said, well, it depends on who pushes it. And I felt if it is a formality, I would think that mine wouldn't be formality. I will move for it. So at every step I was following it, carrying the communities along. Most of them have visited National Assembly, courtesy of the bills have passed for them to come for public hearing. So because of that, and each stage I follow it up. Even during holiday, I decided to say, no, I have to be here and know where at any point, I know where my bill is. So till it gets to that point. And luckily, within that period, I would also say that there was this grandstanding that probably if you are not at some point, somewhere that you are not. But I felt if you push, you can push from anywhere. I went to the National Assembly as a bridge builder. So I've built bridges with people from different zones. Because that's what it requires. What I need to bring home is not just quarrels and all that. I need to bring peace. I need to bring infrastructure. So most of them supported me, and as God will have it, none of my 58 bills, but none has ever been rejected by the House or by the Senate.
That's wonderful.
So from that, I start to see that probably the bridge building is working, and actually probably your people will like your face. So having done that, I moved also to see that the president assents to it. And luckily, by the grace of God, he did. And we are so grateful as a people, as a constituency, as a state to him. And I also say, my people said in our local parlance that Okwa Sinoenya Lidia with the greatest farmer. Yes. So I see him as, I don't think any other president has ever given the constituency such projects. I don't think also that any president has looked our way in such infrastructural level by courtesy of bill passed by the member of legislature. So I would give kudos to the president administration for that.
Thank you. But was it part of why you left the Labour Party to the APC?
I will put it this way. The Labour Party has already had some issues. And looking at the Labour Party, I myself went to court, Federal High Court, to see if I can redress the things that are going on the left. But it's happened to be, it is like going with a vehicle, as the governor of Kwebe said, going with a vehicle and the vehicle broke down. There was a lot of ego that nobody wants to swallow his. Nobody wants peace for the party. Everybody's having ego. Nobody wants to step back. There was no dialogue. As a house, we try to meet the warring parties, but to no avail. Excuse me. To no avail. So it is like not just that the vehicle broke down, but the mechanic that came to repair the vehicle start fighting with the driver. And I don't think if you're myself, you will stay. As a politician, you need stability. You need to be assured where you are.
Because he's very busy now.
Just okay. They are counting.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome back. Now, happening now, judiciaries in ENUGU are on strike this morning. The Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria is closed and people can't gain entry. This strike was muted on Friday, but it has taken effect from today. Now, with us on the line is a legal practitioner, Chamberlain Agu, and he's going to give us an overview on what is currently happening over there. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the program. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Can you give us an update as to what the strike is for and why it's happening now?
Can you tell us the situation, sir?
Okay. We just came to the court this morning, eager to come to do our matter, but eventually the magistrate court gates are locked up, and lawyers are stranded outside. So, in course of inquiry, we learned that the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, ENUGU State chapter, is on strike, and the strike is hinged on their continued cry and agitation for financial autonomy from the state. So, and based on that, there are a series of requests to ensure that they have financial autonomy have not been given heed to. Hence, the impact on this indefinite strike for that matter, in order to bring home their agitation and their seriousness toward this financial autonomy. So, ordinarily in the court now, everybody's lawyers will come for their matter and then they will drive out. Because since the gate is firmly out and the judiciary staffs who ought to be in court for the activities of the day are not equally around. So that is the situation here right now in the magistrate court.
All right, so does that mean that until the strike is called off, there will be no activity in the courts? What would happen to those who have pending cases and the likes?
Precisely. Yes, it behooves on the officials of the union here in ENUGU State chapter to interface with the state government. So that deliberation, definitely, we know the next way forward.
Okay, how long is this strike supposed to be? How long?
We don't know. Since it is termed indefinite. Since it is termed indefinite, of course, you know what indefinite means. Yes, that was why I said that being issue. That should the state government of the day call them and negotiate even today, then definitely they don't have any other thing to do than to sheath back their sword.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Barrister Chamberlain Agu, for this update, and hopefully we'll keep in touch to get more updates as to this issue. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
All right, and the morning show will be back in a moment. Do stay with us. morning show.
You need to be sure that you have a house, because politics party is like an umbrella, and I think my people elected me to bring something, not quarrel. They elected me to make sure that the logo they have, the logo I went to the house is there. But at the same time, they don't want me to just go there and bring logo back. They want me to go there and bring something back. And when I see that there's no direction, there's been a lot of irreconcilable differences. So the only thing that left for me is to seek alternative platform. And that alternative platform is why I went to APC. And I also think that APC is, for now, is the most stable party today in Nigeria. Now, there isn't leadership tussle as we have. They have settled actually with amicability. So by that, I think I've not made a mistake. And having university is also a very good thing to tell my people that it's justified to be there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, the university thing is huge. How are your people receiving it? And tell me also, in specifics now, some of the projects you've been able to attract to your constituency besides the university.
Okay. Let me start from telling you if you are a keen listener to the radio, I know that there have been jingles by the community where it was cited, that is Ekonike. There's also jingles by the zone where it was cited. And there's been a lot of goodwill coming from them too. That shows the acceptability is high. There's also there's a lot of things also that is coming up about that, just also to thank the president, because it's also a mean feat. Then, for the constituency project, one of my constituency projects, which is I'm thinking that is also going to be another legacy project, that I've planned and I'm moving towards building a 1,000 capacity computer center in the constituency. That's a project. It's going to be huge, and it's also going to be that people from my constituency are going to Anambra and other states to take jump. I think it is something ridiculous that I should also find a solution to such things. It is also a kind of capital flight too, in that respect. So that notwithstanding, we're also doing a lot of some road projects. We did, because I informed you earlier about some places of indigency in some places. We're also carrying out free medical outreach. I've just finished the third edition of computer training, which more than 1,000 students were trained in computer packages. That is quite important. Why I say it's important is that almost every exam now is migrating into a computer exams. And if they are not literate enough, what it means is that you might know something, but you can't pass. Yes, so for you to get them over that, that's what you do. I've also been giving some people computer laptops. These are people that I feel that they need those, they need to use that to upgrade themselves. Also, at that moment, I also have some people that will go for 1 month training by MTN. That's the 5 persons I've been told to nominate 5 persons for that. I've also built two schools in these, each of them 6 blocks. That has also been done. There's also some areas I donated school materials, both chairs, bags, books, and tables to those schools. That going forward, I also have a lot of other things to do. You would also know that there is most of the part of ENUGU and issues are lit now by solar street lights. Those are also part of it, because we also want to check insecurity, especially in issues where there's been that conundrum of insecurity. So, but also that is also not retarded that there's no insecurity in other places. That all these cars, bags, snatching, and others come also as a result of that. There was a typical example is somewhere in Road 12, where a corner where people, especially when ladies are passing, people will come and take their bag from them. And I didn't know that was happening, but I was passing the street. Somebody was saying something. I heard it, and I quickly moved to put such things in that place. And having done that, I think that one was put to rest, and the people can go freely, come in and go out freely. This is what we've been trying to achieve within the 2 years we are. And I believe also more will come.
If I call you an example of effective representation, would you answer me?
I'll be one of them. Thank you.
Now tell us your secret.
No.
I want to know your secret because you're a first timer in the National Assembly.
Yeah.
But you're operating like a ranking member of the House of Representatives. Yeah. What's your secret? How did you maneuver?
I think that what I discovered within the first 1 week or first month is that there are two things you need as a person. One is honesty. That when you're following anybody, when you're staying at the point you are, you must maintain your lane. Don't be moving from one table to the other and thinking that you're very fast, because the table will always link itself, and they know. Yeah, usually in the National Assembly, we call them vegetables, people who move from one person to other. So that is one. Then another thing is that you must also know that you need relationship, most importantly. If you must relate with people from all regions, because you can't make yourself. You need all their votes.
Yes.
So you have that platonic relationship with everybody. You may have deep relationship with some, those who you give loyalty based on what you perceived that they are maybe mentors to you. But at the same time, the background also helps. For example, people have seen that you've done 1, 2, 3, 4 bills where they're looking for people to pay for, to do for them. If you've done that, people will see some element of hard work or element of capacity around you. People will automatically search for you. In any case, you will also have some people that are envious about it. But the people that will search for you, for your capacity, is more. Because a lot of people want merit. Even if it is in secret, they want merit.
Yes.
So sometimes you find out, you see, people will ask you to also put their name in your bill. We want to be part of you. Because you know that they said, the adage that success has many friends. That will also come to play in such things. And also, using your background, my own background from academics, you could also stop to talk. You can also stand up in the house to talk. On one occasion, while I was presenting a bill, somebody stood up, the minority leader stood up to say that, a point of order, that the professor is reading copiously from a book. I said, that is what, I'm just trying to glance and look at it like others. I said, but never mind, don't worry, I'll keep the book. When I kept the book, I performed better than even having the book. They say, yeah, because she's a professor, this. Then that becomes that. Nobody will now see you any day and say, why are you doing this? Or why can you? Nobody will challenge you, because they know you can always defend yourself.
Because you are an authority.
Yeah, so that is why that's what I think that has motivated that. That's also what I think that a lot would like to associate with you based on those premises.
Yeah, wonderful. Nice being with you today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Let's go back to your migration to the APC.
Okay.
You've explained, but I want to find out if your migration is of personal interest, or did you consult with your people? Are they with you on this?
Yes, I did. I consulted with my people. I went word to word, if you wouldn't know. In fact, to a large extent, it is the people that are the party officials from the local government to ward that called me actually to say that we will have to move. Remember, immediately we won an election, the state chairman came and formed a parallel body in my constituency who will be managing that for a long time. And when at a point, we'll now say, I went to Federal High Court against that decision. And after that, I just felt, well, when the people now felt they are tired of what is happening and a lot of idiosyncrasies within the system, they called me that we should now find another platform. And they suggested APC. I said, I will think about it. And after thinking about it, I said, okay, it's now time to move, and that's how we moved. And they also followed me wholly and entirely.
Could you assess the APC, especially economically, their policies, their economic policies?
Yeah. To accept, let me just, on the point of thing, to say that no party is devoid of some errors. So, and APC is not a saint either. So all these some errors in everywhere. No perfect place on earth, as the case may be. So I am not exonerating in APC from errors. I'm also not antagonizing where I came from. That's the Labour Party. Yes. It is not out of malice that I left. It is purely on conviction that the direction is no longer clear. Yeah. That I see direction clearer in the other one. You understand? Okay. And I just felt, and for now, I think the policies that is a necessary policy. They have a lot of necessary policy, but there is a lot of hardship in the land even before they came. There is also a lot of problems where the oil has been mortgaged even longer time before they come in.
Time is not our friend, Prof.
Thank you.
But I would like you, just before you go,
yeah,
I'd like you to let us know the vision you have for your constituents.
Well, the vision I have from that there will be a change, a notable change within my time in the National Assembly that will be indelible, that will leave, that I would leave most of us in the constituency, and the constituency will always have it better. I want to set a standard that whenever I'm done with the House, other people will see a standard or a issue. They could also step up before moving forward.
Thank you very much, Prof. It's been a wonderful
so
time having this chat with you.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
I appreciate it too.
I've been talking to Professor Sunday Paul Nnamchi, member representing ENUGU East and Isuzo Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives. My name is Luke Umbo. Please God, you will find time to join us again. Nigeria, we hail thee.
Well, let me welcome you to the conference this beautiful morning. My name is Mwabu Zenjoko. In the last edition, we looked at so much money going to the subnationals. So there's so much money as it were to play around with. And suddenly, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission had a brainwave and said it needed to pay more money to the president, the vice president, the ministers, the governors, the political appointees, because according to it, since 2008, their salaries have not been reviewed. And according to that commission, things are now tough, warranting a review of what our political appointees take home. That's a very considerate commission. And so this morning, we're looking at that sense of care being exhibited by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Is it right? I will answer that question. I have my guests this morning on the conference, and let me start from my left. Barrister Dr. Eze Chikamnayo, former Commissioner of Information and Strategy in Abia State, and at present is publisher of Nigeria Today magazine. Chikamnayo, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you, my brother.
How is it moving away from government and coming to join us here?
It's a natural transition. I'm still in the information channel, Commissioner for Information, publisher, we are still dealing with the same.
Yeah, from getting the flag to giving the flag.
Exactly.
Let us see the transition as we convert this morning.
Yeah, exactly.
And on my immediate left is Andy Ezane. Andy Ezane, we've been teasing him off camera. Former Chief Press Secretary to the Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, a product of University of Lagos. I'm very proud of saying that it's a product of University of Lagos. Echo for sure. Andy, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Chief. Good morning, viewers. Good to be here.
While we're off camera, somebody said to me that all the political magic and the language of how to accomplish that magic was designed by you and your colleagues in INEC. Isn't that true?
No, we did a lot of designing, but not really magic. We did not design any magic. We worked according to a process. Maybe the process was not understood along the line one way or the other, but there was no magic involved.
So we didn't understand the process. We are wrong. INEC was very right. Don't mind, we'll know how right INEC was. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I have on my extreme left in red with me Tochukwu Okorie. He's the and Accountability Initiative. Okorie, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And incidentally, today we're looking at accountability
that's important.
and transparency.
That's important.
Thank you very much. Andy, I'm going to start with you. The Conduct Commission, Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission just showing incredible milk of human kindness, consideration. And it says since 2008, the remuneration, the salaries of particular office holders for the president downwards have never been reviewed. And that things are now tough, warranting a review. Do you cast your vote for this kind of very kind consideration?
Well, it is not a very straightforward question, and it wouldn't get a straightforward answer. The fact is this: yes, they may be correct if they say that from 2008 there had not been a review. Then if they come from that perspective, then they will be justified in trying to have a review. So to that extent, you can say yes, it may be right for them to do that. But you cannot do that review in isolation. You have to do that in the system that you are working, in the environment that you are working. You are not, things are not tough only for those who are occupying political positions. For those who are around them in the environment, for those who are outside their gates, have you also reviewed, where they are living? There are those who are in formal sector, there are those who are in the informal sector, there is the minimum wage and the rest of them. You have to do a comparative analysis. It is when you find out that what the political office holders are taking home does not compare with what others are getting in terms of all they have available to survive, then that is where this your kindness is going to play out. But if you find out that even if you take it back to 2000 or